Hello. Again, I have a nice some bed sheets. Cause I don't, cause my desk, people get distracted. Whatever. Today we're not talking about any IEMs, but we're talking about some IEM ear tips. We're talking about some Sedna ear fit elastics, which, they're pretty pricey, of course. Of course, disclaimer, blah, blah, blah. Remember, purchasing decisions. Um, like, for example, if you're gonna, if you're thinking, oh, hey, is this worth it? I will comment on that. But you have to, of course, accept the fact, is it worth to get aftermarket ear tips anyways? Not everyone's willing to do that thing. Not everyone's seen the value in that. For example, what can I say? Like if you're into keyboards, not everyone wants aftermarket keycaps or something like that. Not everyone wants the fanciest thing or the bestest thing. So some people are content with just mediocre things or something that works for them. Not necessarily mediocre, but just something that's satisfactory to them. You know, or like pen mods. If somebody's satisfied with just having one mod instead of like pursuing trying out more mods and making a new mod. Some people are just satisfied with getting a mod that is cheap and something that they can get accessible with. For this, it's really about what some people are satisfied with just using the ones that are in the package. For me, though, my ideology, I choose to use aftermarket keycaps for consistency and for comfortability, and and I guess sound as well. But in my opinion, you shouldn't really focus on how the thing sounds. Of course, there's going to be differences, different bores and different like shapes and stuff. How sound stuff is going to affect the sound, of course. Which is also a reason why I like being consistent by having the same ear tip for everything, so it doesn't really depend on the the actual ear tips that come in the package. It's going to be consistent. It's going to be the same ear tips. For me, this is something I'd venture with, and I will say that my favorite ear tips are the ones I have here on my Truth Ear Zeros. They are spin fits. I've actually bought like 6 pairs. Here's like an empty set that I have here with just one left because I lost one, or actually I ripped one, I think. But yeah, um, spin fits. I use a small variant, and I did when buying my Sedna ear fit elastics. I got the small variant as well, and I think because they actually match the measurements. If you see online for blah blah blah, outer diameter and stuff like that. Yeah, it's my first venture into sticky types, and I can say that I'm not the biggest fan of them, but of course, um, a lot of people, might like the sticky type. I've seen online though that some other people prefer a different type of sticky. I forgot the name of the model, but apparently, some people are very strongly towards picking a different one. There's a this isn't the straight top of the line type thing, but there you go. These are pricey. I think I paid like 30 Canadian dollars for just a set of 2 pairs, so 4 in total. I've only basically used one pair for like every time I switch because that's just how I roll with it. I literally have one pair of spin fits that I roll and then I just take them off and then put them on my other IEM that I want to use for that day, stuff like that. I did the same with these. I basically swapped from the Arias to the Truth Your Zeros though during my time of testing, which it's definitely been quite a week, maybe like 2 weeks or so, something like that. Probably maybe a little bit more than that actually, but but that is my experience. Um, I will say that I try to use this as much as possible. I do prefer my spin fits though, so it's not really going to replace my main. Um, However, it is annoying sometimes for me to switch out ear tips, so I will be using these occasionally from time to time. It's not like a absolute deal breaker, which I guess for sure. But like in general, they're all right. I do think the spin fits are more comfortable. I'm not really going to go into sound because, like I said, I definitely prefer the fitment, and that is one thing that I will say about these is that the fitment isn't exactly the same. I do think on the Arias, they're pretty much pretty similar. They seal well, and they stay in well. But for the True Theory Zeros, when you put them on, the True Theory Zeros actually have a wider whatever thing nozzle, a wider nozzle. So that one actually changes for me, like because of the way this kind of like conforms. Um, you get instructions like you gotta put it in like hot water when it starts to like not, because it like shapes to your ears and stuff. Like I learned now that like I have like an oval type thing. I don't know. It's hard to see. It won't focus, but it kind of like, yeah, it kind of like reshapes. So it's not like a perfect circle. On the truth, like on the as the spin fits, it kind of like conforms, which in my opinion definitely takes it away from me. If you have one set of IEMs and you're maybe sitting at a desk, okay, sure. But for me, I go around. I use these as portable devices. I listen to IEMs on my trip to work or stuff like that, or going to school, walking around, doing whatever. And for something like this seems to me like a long-term type sit down. You're going to spend a few hours in this and you want something to fit and stay in the entire time. Maybe this is what that would be for. However, that is not me and that is not my use case. And using these for my, these Sedna EarFit Elastics, X Elastics, for my use case, it doesn't really work that well for me. I definitely prefer my spin fits. For these, because it conforms this way, it actually doesn't give me a proper seal on the True Theory Zeros. Definitely because of the nozzle width. It kind of made me feel that it wasn't going in as fully as I want to. It's actually giving me a little bit of discomfort with them, with the ear tips on these, compared to the spin fits, which work really well. I will say that, of course, the True Theory Zero, because of the nozzle, there are ear tips that are meant for wider nozzles, and these spin fits aren't exactly those, but it works here. I'm pretty sure SpinFit has another model for wider nozzle ear tips, but this is not one of them, but it still works. But for this, maybe you'll need a wider nozzle variant, if there is even any for these. In terms of value, value is something you should consider, but for ear tips, it's probably not the most worrisome of your concerns. It's, I guess, a few dollars more than these, but really, like, that's not something that you should be worried about. If you're worried about a few dollars, you probably shouldn't be getting aftermarket ear tips. But yeah, value, I guess, because I'm not satisfied with these, and these are cheaper actually to get. I definitely prefer the spin fits. I would recommend the spin fits still as my, because I do prefer them over these. Generally, I can't say that my experience is completely positive. It's a sticky type, but I'll have to try other sticky types to maybe be able to compare to see how the specifics of why this would be maybe better or whatever, or not. So keep that in mind. This is my only sticky type IEM ear tips. And from my experience, when you got them, they're really sticky. They actually still are pretty sticky, even though I guess you can't feel them with your fingers as well, the stickiness. But when you get them really in your ears, sometimes when you take them out, the ear tip actually like slips off the nozzle and like stays in your ear, which I guess attributes to the fitment, I guess. Yeah, which I guess is good, that it shows, oh, it's sticking, blah blah blah. Maybe it'll help if you have like really, I don't know, stuff like comfort wise, some maybe like an ear tip that doesn't fit as well. Maybe this will help. In my opinion, it probably would honestly give me more discomfort because but yeah, it's something like that. I will say that it does, because of its stickiness. If you're someone like me who tends to like go out in public, and when I want to hear the background, I'll take it, like, for example, maybe I want to like talk. I'll like take out one ear tip. When you're doing that, you're probably gonna get some earwax on it, and it's kind of really annoying because it like sticks to it, and you have to like scrape it off or like get moisture on it to get it off, and it's really just kind of a chore. Not really something uh, I like doing it, and it's kind of weird to like try to put it in knowing that there is earwax stuck on it, and that's just gonna get more in your ears and go whatever. It's not something that's really too pleasant. Other than that, not really much else to say here. Would I recommend it? I can't. You have to really think about what you value, of course. Remember, this is a purchasing decision. What is this, like $20 USD, something like that? So $5 per ear tip. You do get 4 in the packaging. Maybe it'd be a bigger sell if they sold them in 2 packs. Like you can get Spinfits in 2 packs, which is what I did when I first got them. Instead, you have to get 2 sets of 2, so 2 pairs of only one size. So it's kind of, you have to really know what your size is beforehand, which I guess is not really hard to do because you get like a whole set when you get ear tips. But ear tips of varying widths and whatnot. It's yeah, you got to know your preference. Find something that makes you work. These, I guess, honestly, number one thing for ear tips, fitment, and sometimes this fitment doesn't really get me immersed enough and doesn't really get me there compared to the Spinfits. Because of that, it does hurt my listening experience in certain situations, especially when I want to use my Truth Ear Zeros. But yeah, that's really it. Nothing else to say here. That's really all my thoughts. Yeah, that's it. And that is the ASLA Sedna Earfit X Elastics. Yeah, bye bye.